Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this abbreviated edition of FSU Weather on this Tuesday. I'm Casey Cloud. Let's go ahead and get right into an overview of the show. National radar, really the big story here. A north central part of the country getting significant snowfall. I'll talk about here in just a second into parts of Wisconsin, Minnesota as well. But we're also seeing very cool temperatures in the single digits in Montana, getting into Wyoming as well. John will get into that a little bit more later on. You see this heavy snow up toward areas around Marquette, also just east of Wausau, Wisconsin, and Green Bay as well. So some very snowy conditions. Some areas near Marquette even have picked up around 2 feet of snow. But locally, warm and sunny conditions will continue. We will see a weak cool front starting to move through our region, and rain will return. But we will see nice conditions after that. Tonight it'll be a little cool but nice. 47 degrees. It'll be not too windy. Just make sure you have a light jacket if you're going around town. But right now, we'll go ahead and take a look at your southeast with Melanie.
Thank you, Casey. Yeah, the big story this week is just going to be that approaching cold front. But now let's take a look at our current temperatures. We're sitting at 72 in Tallahassee, 66 in Carabel, 70 in Wilma. So we're sitting in the high 60s and low 70s. And our temperatures are going to be continuing to rise just for tomorrow. But now at our satellite and radar, there's not much going on. There's just some few overpassing clouds. So if you're out and about, you're going to see some of those high clouds, but nothing really too serious. And our dew point, we're sitting at 44 in Tallahassee, 50 in Quincy. So the air it's very dry, right? It's very dry out right now, but that is going to quickly change as the cold front moves through. And then here to our northwest, that's just cold front, a little clouds from the cold front, but that doesn't really have much rain associated with it. It's a very dry cold front, and it's a very weak cold front. It's going to be making our temperatures dip down slightly. And tonight, we're going to be seeing cooler temperatures, and that cold front is going to slowly approach our area. Tomorrow, the sunny conditions will prevail. We're going to be seeing those warm temperatures, those sunny conditions, and the cold front is just going to be continuing to creep closer. We're going to be leaving us with a nice night Wednesday night, and then by Thursday morning we're going to be seeing those mild temperatures, but by Thursday night that is when the cold front is going to be passing through our area and leaving us with cooler air. We're going to be dropping back down into the 40s and the low 60s, so just like it's very seasonable. It's going to be very seasonable this week. But now if you want to plan your day tomorrow, if you wake up in the morning and go to work, you may need that light jacket. We're going to be sitting at about 54, but by lunchtime we're going to be warming up relatively quickly to 73, and by evening we're going to be seeing 72. Now our high tomorrow is supposed to be 79, and then that 79 is going to be reached between 12 o'clock and the 5 p.m. hours. But looking at tonight, we're going to be sitting at 47, so if you're out and about, you may need that light jacket, just if you're sensitive to the cold like I am. It's going to be calm and cool, and it's going to be just beautiful. But tomorrow we are going to be warming up to 79 degrees. The sun is going to be out and about, so get out, enjoy the sun, study around campus, but if you go out, make sure you have that sunscreen. And taking a look at for the rest of the week, Wednesday we're going to be seeing those warm temperatures, but then once that cold front passes through, we're going to be dipping down into the high 60s Thursday, then we're going to be sitting at 60 on Friday. But for the weekend and for our chance on Monday, the rain chances are going to return. But Saturday morning, look at that low, 35 degrees. So if you are out, make sure you have a light jacket, and if you like the cold, well, the cold is going to be coming back Thursday into Friday, so just get ready for the cold. But now we're going to take it to our local with Matt.
All right, Melanie, thank you so much. We're going to take a look a little bit what's going on around our area and around the state of Florida. Right now, we're sitting at a cool 72 degrees, and Pensacola, you're at 69, but the rest of the state is looking quite comfortable right now. Miami, you're the warm spot, quite as always, really, at 78 degrees down there in South Florida. But let's take a look at that 24-hour temperature change, because this tells the story of where exactly that cold front is. Right here, just through Louisiana and now up into Arkansas and parts of Mississippi as well. You can see that really defined line of where that cold front is. 23-degree difference in Shreveport from what they were yesterday. The rest of the state of Florida, you're looking pretty neutral right now, so nothing too much going on, not much of an effect from that cold front. And then in points westward, you can see ahead of that cold front, you can see quite a warm-up in some areas of Alabama. But now let's take a look at the satellite and radar composite. You see the cool front right here kind of scooping into the area. This is going to be moving quite slowly over the next couple days. It's going to take a little while to get here. But then over behind me, we have a little low pressure system that's kind of spinning around out here over the Atlantic, and that's going to be scooting on up the northeastern seaboard, not really causing us any headaches, but could be causing the Northeast quite a few headaches later on in the weekend while it merges with another system. So watch out for some heavy snowfall in the Northeast. But now let's go ahead and move on to water vapor because, well, here it is again. You see that really defined low pressure right out here. A lot of dry air being scooped on into it, so really cutting it off from that moisture feed down in the tropics. But as that moves up and out of the way, you see this big swath of moisture indicated by the green pushing into our area, and that's going to cause a little bit of cloud cover, which we have seen a little bit today. If you just walked outside, you see those clouds starting to creep back into the area. That's just ahead of that approaching cold front. So let's take a look a little bit more in depth of what's going to happen with this front. Current conditions are going to be cool, and that 50 degrees weather is going to be sticking around. And as that cool front pushes towards our area into tomorrow, we're talking 6 a.m. tomorrow, that's going to be pushing down and creating another pretty wonderful day. Nice conditions and comfortable outside. A little bit of cloud cover out there, but nothing too much. That cold front's going to slowly make its way, slow down a little bit once it hits the panhandle of Florida, and then push right through and shoot that cool air back into our area. But this isn't the front that's going to be causing us super cool weather, but it will be dipping our temperatures down quite a bit from what we are seeing over the next couple days. But now if we're taking a look, if you're heading out to the beach, beach conditions are looking rather nice. The UV index is still looking a little high, so definitely pack your sunscreen with you. And if you're heading out on the water, the boating conditions are nice as well. But tonight, you're looking at 48 in Tallahassee all the way down to Key West, 68 degrees. And into tomorrow, we're going to be rebounding nicely, and those suns are going to be shining, and we're going to be looking at 79 degrees. But John, what's going on elsewhere?
There are two big stories today across the country, both happening across the East Coast. The big snowmaker that we've talked about before is happening up in the UP of Michigan over to Wisconsin and working into the lower peninsula as well of Michigan, bringing 1 to 2 feet of snow. But for a lot of folks, the big story is going to be the temperature change, and that's not what's not seen here. These clear skies are allowing temperatures to fall quite a bit, in some cases upwards of 60 degrees over a 24-hour temperature hour change. And that cold front spews all the way down into South Texas. This is going to be coming across the country through the next couple of days. Let's get into it here. Snow still falling in Marquette. Places along Michigan State Road 28 recording 12 to upwards of 25 inches of snowfall, including the Marquette area. Finally starting to end in Wausau and over towards Duluth, still dealing with a couple of snowflakes. All rain across the lower half of Michigan there, pushing into Canada. But follow this front all the way down towards the south through Memphis, through Alexandria, down just passing through Houston. Really not a whole lot of rainfall, but there's plenty of clouds to talk about, and that's what we're seeing here in Tallahassee. These clouds are spewing from Mexico all the way closer to Jacksonville now, with partly cloudy skies being reported there. But the real change here is going to be this temperature change. Look at this, folks. Towards the west, we're looking at temperature changes over the last 24 hours falling between 30 and upwards of 50 degrees since this time yesterday. Amarillo dropped 44 degrees, and a town just to the north of Amarillo dropped 64 degrees between their high temperature yesterday and their low temperature this morning, dropping from 84 degrees, their high yesterday, to right around 20 degrees. And factor in the wind, and temperatures there are feeling like the single digits, but off towards the east, still very warm across the east, 3 degrees warmer than they were yesterday in Meridian. Actual temperatures still in the 60s and 70, 74 degrees in New Orleans, 68 degrees in Tallahassee, 70 in Charleston. But look off towards the west. We're looking cold up in Wyoming, up into the northern Rockies, 7 degrees right now in Billings. And that's going to be warm for the next couple of days in Billings there. If you've got to head towards the warmth, head off towards the southwest, because this front is not going to affect them. 80s over the next couple of days in Phoenix, 60s and 70s in California, in New Mexico. And there's a lot to talk about off towards the northwest. Everything here in white is a wind chill warning. That means temperatures are going to feel like negative 25 to negative 35 degrees as you wake up tomorrow morning. Feeling a little bit warmer, but still freezing across Texas. Everything here in this light blue shade here is a freeze warning. We're talking about temperatures just below freezing, and wind chills are talking about looking like this. Negative 11 tonight in Billings, looking again like negative 35, feeling like negative 35 in Billings. It's going to be very cold, but the temperatures are coming back up tomorrow afternoon to a warm 3 degrees in Billings.
Well, that's not much of a warm 3 in Billings, but it is a warm day down here in Tallahassee. Well, I'm back, and we're going to be talking more about the southeast area here. I talked about Florida before, but we're going to scoot our viewing area out into the rest of the southeast. And if you're looking around the southeast right now, those current conditions, you can see where that front, as I mentioned before, the defined line of where that front is right here over Louisiana, starting to slowly push its way into the rest of the southeast. But like I said, it's going to be a slow mover, so we're not going to see anything anytime soon. But Thursday is when we're going to be expecting the front to pass. Right now, Tupelo, you're looking at 67, and even just off across the border in Little Rock, it's 47 degrees. Current wind conditions look like this. We're looking pretty calm down here in the peninsula, but then as that front passes up here in Little Rock and Shreveport, those wind gusts are picked up quite a bit. Seeing wind gusts into the 20s right now, current winds sitting at 14 in Little Rock, and nothing too crazy down here across the peninsula. Satellite and radar across the southeast, once again, you have the low spinning around right out here. Nothing has changed in the last 3 minutes with that low, but that'll start to push on up to the northeastern seaboard, cause a couple headaches there, maybe some travel headaches, maybe some airport headaches. So if you're heading out flying, I would advise not to in the northeast over the next few days with that weather pushing in. And then down here, we're seeing that cloud cover, as John mentioned before, start to push its way into the peninsula, even starting to reach places as far east as Jacksonville. So that cloud cover will push in. We'll be under the cloud layer for about a day and a half until that front passes on through. Water vapor imagery, you see once again that dry air down here off into the Atlantic, and then over here in points westward of us, that moisture band associated with that front starting to push on into the area. So those warm, maybe a little humid conditions will be back, and maybe the frizzy hair days could be coming back maybe just a little while, but it's still going to be rather comfortable and dry out there. Future cast looks like this. Cool weather sticking around for the next day and a half. You're going to be dipping down in the 50s, upper 40s overnight. The sun's going to be gleaming as that front starts to scoot on in through the day Wednesday. It's just going to kind of meander out here for a little bit, not really sure what it's doing, until it finally makes up its mind and just pushes right on through the peninsula and starts to usher in that cooler air and get rid of those clouds. But as you move into the day tomorrow, what can you expect? You can expect this, 54 degrees in the morning, warming up nicely in the afternoon. But for now, Casey, let's wrap up the show.
Thanks so much, Matthew. Let's go ahead and take a look at your local one final time here, and as we do so, we'll see across our Big Bend region, there were a few clouds earlier, and there still are, but really a pretty nice day to honor veterans at memorials across the area. Now, going ahead and taking a look at the temperature right now, starting to cool off a little bit as the sun is setting, 68 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. That humidity pretty low, so making for a pretty nice day. In terms of the feel to your skin, only 43%. Now, across our area, we're sitting in a little corner, some of our more rural areas, up toward Gadsden County and Quincy, 63 degrees. And towards southwest Georgia, Bainbridge, 66 degrees there. So pretty cool conditions, though. Some of our coastal areas near the, down toward Wakulla County, sitting a little warmer, 78 in St. Marks. Winds, not too big of a factor, just enough to provide a really nice breeze here on this Veterans Day, 5 miles an hour in St. Marks and 3 miles an hour here in the metro area. But as we watch that cool front off to our north and west, we'll see that we'll start to see a little bit more clouds start to make their way into our forecast as we get into Wednesday. It will be a pretty nice day overall, but again, a few clouds will be around, and we'll start to see it. And as the conditions start to change as the cool front gets closer with cooler temperatures on the way as we get later in the week, though there will be mild conditions out ahead of the cool front. Now, going ahead and then getting in later on Thursday, we could see a chance of a few showers, mainly out to our west, though we're talking about out toward Panama City and Pensacola. But that from western cooler air, really the big story is on Friday morning, we'll be waking up to lows getting down into the 30s, very cool conditions. In fact, here as we get later into the week and into the weekend as well. 47 tonight here in the metro area, but as we get out towards some of our more rural areas, we're actually sitting about the same, talking about Monticello, 47 degrees in toward that area. And tomorrow, 79 degrees, a nice day to enjoy the sun. We'll be getting pretty warm out there ahead of that cool front. But later in the week, we'll watch for that cool down as we'll see. And that 7-day forecast we'll be seeing here over the next couple days. 79 here on Wednesday. we'll be seeing pretty nice conditions, but as temperatures really start cooling down, 69 Thursday, and on Friday we'll be getting near the upper 30s for those lows, 60, and then on Saturday starting a warming trend once again. But again, thanks so much for joining us here on FSU Weather. For Matthew, Jonathan, and Melanie, I'm Casey Cloud again. We're so happy you decided to join us here on this abbreviated edition of FSU Weather on Veterans Day. Have a great evening, everybody, and a good night.